Gentlemen, thank you for coming. Special thanks to Medical Services Pacific and the leader, Mrs. Jennifer Poole, the Executive Director, for this initiative. And I also want to thank the Ministry of Women and Social Welfare, your Minister and your staff Director, for initiating this with the NGO. As you know, our children needs to be protected. Relative to 3 to 4 decades ago, the kinds of challenges our children are facing now never used to exist in that particular era. Our children are being subjected to all kinds of information which we are not aware of, the content and who is liaising with our children. They are liaising with our children through various social media platforms, text messages, Facebook. We don't know whom our children are talking to when they're commuting from home to school and back. It's important that we give an opportunity for our children to talk to someone to verify that particular information. And the child helpline provided by the NGO will give an opportunity for our children to open up without having to worry about what the other person on the other end will think about the child. It is a very difficult task for children to open up and talk about their issues. We can have hundreds and hundreds of counselors in the school system, but the real challenge is to get the children to go to the counselor and talk to the counselor and share the problem. Now, child helpline allows the child to open up without having to worry about someone else knowing about the child and probably spreading that information. That's one of the major advantages of the child helpline, is that the child's identity is kept confidential. Ladies and gentlemen, our children are quite vulnerable. Their ability to rationalize between bad and good is limited because at this particular age, they're quite emotional. And therefore they need much more support and care. These issues and challenges that we are facing, that our children are facing, did not exist 2-3 decades ago. Hence, we need to continuously revisit our models of child development and care and bring in policies and measures and strategies that will deal with contemporary issues. Contrary to what some people are saying, that we are reactive, that's how policies are made. Policies are made based on planning about something in future, or policies are made based on some of the issues that you encounter. And I want to thank NGO, the Medical Services Pacific, and the Ministry of Social Welfare for assisting us, Ministry of Education, because we are in custody of the future of this country. These children are the future of this country, and our ability to protect them, guide them, so that they get the right education that we were trying to provide through our schools will determine the future of this country. We can provide the best education system, but if we don't protect our children and keep them in classroom, we will fail. So continuously we are looking at things that we are doing, we are interrogating ourselves, the existing models that we have, and hence new strategies and new implementation of new models is taking place in the ministry. So Ms. Poole, thank you very much, and I want to thank the staff behind the scene in your office, as well as Minister for Social Welfare, Women and Social Welfare, Director, and their staff for the process leading up to the culmination of the signing of this MOU. We are really appreciative of your willingness to assist us, and this is a great help. You read the media, you listen to radio news about some of the issues our children are facing. We are worried, but we are constantly listening to people. We are in inviting people to come close and provide us suggestions. And this assistance that you have made to us is one of those that we are now looking into. And we do hope that, as listed in the MOU, we will work very closely and to ensure that the end result, the children is protected. Thank you.
Also, both of them to shake hands. Very much.
On behalf of the ministry and our senior staff, I want to assure you that you get full support from us. Our infrastructure is there to facilitate easy access to schools. The divisional and district offices, they are all. We will send an email out to them. We want to informing them of this partnership that we now have, so that they can facilitate your staff visiting our schools to talk to children about how they could access this particular facility. We will also jointly, if you could draft something we want to send out as a circular to all our school heads, so that will kind of inform them of the objective of this and the details of the helpline number and how, what time it's open, so that the children can access them. Of course, it's a free line, so children don't need to pay it in the town. Thank you very much.
We have a partnership with an organisation called Sea Mercy that has a yacht actually that takes medical teams and community educators out to some of the islands in the Lau group in the northern area. And that's one way we can actually reach them about these services. But I think it's really critical that, and it's part of, I guess, infrastructure development when we're working with government and the telecommunications providers to make sure there is coverage to some of these areas. It's very important that children have access, particularly the remote areas, because they may not be able to go to the people that are close to them for many reasons, so it's important they've got somebody else to call. So we're trying to get out to those areas, and it's a challenge, I think, for everybody to get services out to some of these areas. But the majority of our calls are coming in from central, western and northern, with central being the highest number at about 40%, but we've got good coverage from the other areas as well. The age of the callers is between 5 years and 40. So we get adults calling, asking about issues regards to welfare and the welfare of children and children at risk. So the adults are also calling this line for assistance. So it's actually getting good usage. Our counsellors are really busy. Most days they're on shift work, and I need a few extra counsellors to give them some rest, because they are incredibly busy on this particular service. And then, of course, our senior counsellor and our outreach team, which includes a medical officer and a lawyer, they also travel out to the communities and to the schools to raise awareness about these services. So they're a very busy team.
We're also about training our counsellors, also working with our curriculum section to look at the family life unit, the subject that we have, how they could assist in ensuring the right to breed there as well. So, and visitation to schools. So in cases where we don't have access to the net, those who are off net, probably we can have more visitations there.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to developing some materials. We have started to develop some materials such as the Girl Empowered booklet for teenagers, and we're going to put some teaching notes around that to help teachers to be able to utilise it. It was designed to be a participatory teaching tool, so we're looking forward to working with some of the counsellors and the child protection officers in schools to be able to use some of these materials, and so it's going to be a great 2016 for us.